Shiznit is exclusively sponsored this month by SpunkLube.com. Spunk Lube is an award-winning personal lubricant that's fun. Spunk Lube is available in 4 varieties: hybrid, pure silicone, natural, and pink. The newest addition to the Spunk Lube family is Spunk Lube Pink. The pink formula is colorful and fun to use. It's a special hybrid formula that's non-sticky and non-staining. All of their products are shipped in discreet packaging from D Enterprises. Please go to spunklube.com and order a unique, fun-to-use personal lubricant.
Hey, welcome everyone to the Great American Bloopers and Outtakes. This is our second annual. We had a great time last year, and this year it started like sometime late last year all the way up to a couple weeks ago. Some outtakes. I took some special time after the episodes and talked to our guest about different things, and we have some real fun bloopers. We got a big contest, the Summer Sizzlers Shiznit giveaway contest. All the details on this week's Cool Kids, so listen to that this coming Thursday. What's coming up first is 4 segments, all with me some mess-ups on some intros, and even on the 4th segment, you'll hear me screw up my catchphrase. So guys, take a moment and listen for this about a 6-minute segment. Put it on your calendars, folks. Saturday, June the 23rd, Harrison, Arkansas, at the Youth Center. Harrison, Arkansas is only 30 miles south of Branson, Missouri, and only 1 hour from Springfield, Missouri. This is a benefit show. All proceeds go to Jake Boulder's Medical Relief. That's right, guys. Legends of Wrestling returns to Harrison, Arkansas. So who's going to be there? It's a family-friendly event to help a great cause. Featured Jerry the King Lawler, superstar Bill Dundee, Tim Storm, Hall of Fame referee James Beard, Gary Graham, Matt Riviera, Space Cowboy Jason Jones, the Diamond Dogs, Mr. Saturday Night Barry, Michael Berry, and many fucking damn shit damn. Oh, I got every bit of that right, but Michael Berry. Fuck. Have you listened to episode 74? That's right, Gene Jackson, my co-host for this episode. Episode 74, Gene joined me to talk about WrestleCade and Wrestling Carlito. Here's a clip. Download all the archives at www.stsclub.net. And I fucked that up. Hey everyone, welcome to Shooting the Shiznit. I want to welcome this is truly my old buddy, Rick Davies. I'm bringing him over from the green room. He's over there drinking Jack and Coke and reading comic books. Come on over, Rick. How's it going this morning?
Oh, it's going really good, Brian. I'm glad to be here.
You know, this is really weird. Me and Rick, this is kind of like what I really wanted Shooting the Shiznit to be. I haven't really told this story on Shooting the Shiznit, but when I first thought about bringing the podcast back, I was going to still call it Shooting the Shiznit, but I was just going to talk to old friends, not really wrestling. It was going to be one of those things where I looked up one of my old history teachers and sat down and talked to him, or, you know, some of my friends that I've been friends forever with. But I just kept coming back to my, you know, to my roots in the sense that wrestling is what I love to talk about. So I decided to come back. But this right here is kind of a combination of both. We made a friendship because of wrestling, and we've never met, which is the funniest thing. Hello.
Our layover didn't keep us in your area long enough.
I'm getting... You're breaking up on me, Rick.
All right, hold on. How's that?
All right, let's
Better?
start. We can start all over, no biggie. So hold on just a minute. I've done it many times. I'll just save this. This will be on the bloopers episode. How's that? Hold on just a second.
I never did Jonesboro, but I'm very familiar with it.
Right. All right, man, Kenny, we're going to call it we went over the 30 minutes, and as always, it's fun. Guys, we didn't even talk about wrestling a lot, but, this
really.
show is called Shooting the Shiznit, so that's what me and Kenny did. So we'll be back here, same bad time, same bad channel, on the best little wrestling podcast in the business. I can't even do my own catchphrase there.
Shit.
Oh, damn. Let's cut that. Cut it right there and start over. The best little wrestling podcast in the business. Be there. Love my mama. All right. I can't even do my own damn catchphrase.
Oh, that reminds me before we go, I come up with this phrase on Sin, Jimmy's wife, and Sin was her television name, SYNN. So I'm doing this promo, and Jim Ross is there, and I'm trying to impress Jim Ross at how good of a promo cutter I am. So I'm up here at the desk with him, and I look at Jimmy and Jim Ross. I said, "Yes, Sin. You know what Sin stands for, don't you?" And I was supposed to say, "Slutty, yeast-infected, nasty nympho." My own gig.
God, yeah.
They had no idea I was going to say it. I just told them I had my own shit, and I was going to do it. And I said, you know what Sin stands for? Slutty. And I got lost. Slutty, nasty. You know what I'm trying to say. No, yes, and you know exactly what I mean because I got totally lost and fucked it up. So the next week on TV, and he says, yeah, I hear you had some horrible things to say about Sin last week on television. I did. I called her a slutty, yeast-infected, nasty nympho that I plainly said last week right here on television, which last week I just botched it all to hell. And I looked at Jimmy and Ross. You know what I'm trying to say.
You know what I'm trying to say.
They didn't. They had no clue what I was trying to say. So that was probably the worst thing I ever did on television is I blew my own shit. I wrote it and then fucked it up when I went out there.
I wish I could blow my own shit.
Well,
whoa.
Be a fortunate man if you could, I guess. You and Lanny Popo.
There we go. What you got coming up here next is about a 22-minute segment here. I kept 3 guests after the show, and we talked about various things. Dustin Starr first comes up and talks about Eric Wayne. Jason Wells, I started recording again because I forgot to ask him about Kenny Omega. He talks about some other fun stuff. And then we had Gene Jackson talking about Aero Lucha. Hey, you guys enjoy this segment? Hey, man, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Anytime.
Hey, I'm gonna have you on. I've got another. We're gonna do another Derek King, but I'm gonna have you on talking about FCW and everything. But Eric Wayne was on here, and I just wanted. I want you to know.
Who?
I know you probably hadn't. Yeah, I know. You haven't listened to.
Who's she? But who's she? I've never heard of her.
All right. But she was. He said something about you, the Randy Orton story, which you can go back and listen to that episode, guys. But he was talking about that Randy Orton episode, and he said that because you covered it on your website and told the wrong story, that he was not able to do a lot of wrestling after that because he was considered, dangerous or whatever. But it was all
Wait a minute. Whoa. So he's blaming me?
Yeah, he said, this is episode 117, by the way, guys, if you want to go and listen to it. But yeah, he said, if you wouldn't have put the story up and you did it incorrectly, that it even went to a UK. It went to the UK, and it was horrible. It took him forever to get over that.
Good. Well, let's see. First of all, Eric Wayne was not a very nice guy back then. He kicked the guy's teeth out. He broke his orbital bone. Kicked him in the face, broke his orbital bone, and was bragging about it. So I don't know what story that he told, but I had nothing to do. I was just standing there watching Randy Orton, watching this happen. So there's no way that you can blame me. If you want to blame anybody, you can blame yourself. He kicked the guy's orbital bone or broke his face or whatever. He was bragging about it in catering to Randy Orton. I remember Brooklyn Brawler came up, introduced everybody to Randy, and he said, "Hey, Randy, you're not going to believe this. He kicked the guy in the face and broke his face." And Randy said, "Well, why would you go and do that?" And Eric kind of chuckled and said, "Well, he deserved it." And Randy just shook his head and said, "Fucking idiot," and walked off. And it was like hilarious. It was the funniest thing. The only thing that could have been better than that, it was when Drew McIntyre beat Eric up in the ring. And it would just seem like karma. I'm just going to be honest with you. When you hurt somebody that seriously in the ring and then you brag about it or joke about it, it's not funny to those guys, and it's not funny to us either. And I still, to this day, if I'm in the ring with Eric, he does not kick me in the face. And I'll just say this too. Instead of going around and pointing the finger at guys and their websites and blaming other people when you're the one that did it, let's look at this, man. You're a third-generation wrestler in Memphis. How are you a third-generation wrestler in Memphis, Tennessee, and you blew your opportunity? The WWE or somewhere right now, right? How is that possible?
Yeah, he pretty much told exactly what you said, except, and it goes to what was it, a mistake or not a mistake? It was just and he knows it was the way it was handled at the time. It should have been handled a lot differently than it was. I mean,
now I will say that maybe I should not have put that on the internet, but that was at a time, and you know this because you ran Wrestling Riot.
It
was at a time where kayfabe was starting to kind of go away, and more of those stories were being released, and so more people paid attention to your website if you were able to tell them stories that they didn't hear anywhere else. And so that's kind of how it morphed. Now you go on WWE Network and you can hear all these stories, or you can listen to podcasts and hear all the behind-the-scenes stories. But this one, just because it was about him and it happened to be just on the cusp of, all this behind-the-scenes stuff, you can't blame me.
Yeah,
you can't blame me for telling a story.
It was, I put it out, and then you put it out. We both got lots of hits. So, in my site, I tell this, and people that, hell, I'm still recording, so hell, we'll probably use this for something anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry, but yeah.
I'm sure Eric will love that. Hey, Eric.
Yeah. But and you know this, my site, when I first started it, and I did it the Dave Meltzer way, where I was, kayfabe wasn't there, and I even introduced the word kayfabe to a ton of people because they had no fucking idea what it was. And then, like you said, you was at the point to where you was there and you told your version, much like we had, the time Brian Christopher got into a real fight and all kinds of crazy stuff that wouldn't have been on a website,
right?
Say 5 years or 10 years ago, but it was because that's what we were doing in that area. And you had connections that say I didn't have connections. And what had happened was that there was a UK website that actually picked up your story.
Nice.
And then it went just crazy all over the place. It was in the Observer. It was on, all the top sites there.
Okay, so if Sammy Callahan can hit a guy in the face with a baseball bat and bust it all open and still be on top of the company and get booked all over the world, then why didn't Eric Wayne use that to his advantage instead of, blaming people for...
It was a weird time because it was really, he even told this, he thought that, I can't ever think of the kid's name that he broke the bone.
Greg King.
Greg, yeah. Greg said that he said that Greg thought that he did it on purpose.
Yeah, that was the consensus. It really was. He was very unsafe. I remember telling him when I wrestled him for the Southern Heavyweight Classic, there was a tournament, and I knocked him out in the first round, and he really hated it. So, like, his ego, and I know he's going to listen to this, and he's going to hate it. He's going to be like Dustin talking about somebody's ego. But I remember there was a spot where he was going to give me a shoulder tackle, and I said, "Nah, we're not going to do that. Look at me, look at you. I'm going to tackle you." And he's like, "No, I don't think so." I said, "All right, well, we'll just get out in the ring and we'll see who wins." And that was it. And when we went to the curtain, he came up to me and he wanted to play ball then, but he didn't want to go through the curtain and just see who won. He just had that attitude about him. And sometimes have a chip on your shoulder is a good thing, but when you get a reputation, and I've never had a reputation of being dangerous in the ring, so that's one of the things I pride myself on. But it was pretty well known in the locker room. They thought he did it on purpose. They didn't think that he was sorry or remorseful for it at all. He always yeah, that's just kind of how Eric is. Anybody that's listening that knows Eric, they know that's about right.
All right, man. Thanks. Thanks again for being on today. I'll get back with you. We'll do something with the FC. Hey, man, I forgot to ask you while we were actually doing the podcast. Your profile picture has Kenny Omega, and I told you I was going to ask you about it, so we can use this on my July 4th outtakes or whatever extras little show I'm doing. So tell us about meeting Kenny Omega. He's one of the biggest stars right now, independent-wise, and, well, overall in the wrestling business. So tell us.
Yeah, absolutely. He's probably the biggest guy in the world right now, and Actually, I took Sarge O'Reilly to WrestleMania this year. We were doing some stuff with Ring of Honor Wrestling. Delirious came down with us, Joe Koff, who is the COO of Ring of Honor. We had a discussion, we were kind of friendly, and he was like, "Hey, man, are you coming down for WrestleMania?" And I told him I was, and he told me all the details and everything, and then we got to go, and I stood in line for about 2 hours. Jeez. And finally got to, yeah, it was crazy. I didn't think I should have got there way earlier, apparently, but walking around and the buzz around Kenny Omega was incredible. But we got to meet him on a meet and greet and got to talk to him for a second. One thing about Bullet Club, every member of the Bullet Club that I've ever met, from Cody to Kenny to the Bucks, Marty, they are the nicest guys that I've ever met in wrestling. Just no ego, no nothing. Just so they're independent guys at heart, and you can tell that they've been there. They don't have an attitude or anything. And he was definitely a memorable moment for me of meeting some of the guys. He was probably the most memorable.
Awesome. I love to hear that. I love to hear, when you meet somebody and they're humble and everything. I got a question. Since you guys use a lot of people, and we didn't cover this, but you guys have had some of the biggest names. You mentioned Vader, X-Pac, and everything when we were talking. And don't kayfabe me when I ask you this, okay? So let me tell you ahead of time. So who was the asshole that you've had to work with? There's got to be one asshole of the whole bunch.
God, it's terrible because he just died, but Vader was not very nice.
I knew this, by the way. I know put you on the spot, but I already knew it. I'd already heard that he was not very nice at your show. So,
no, he was not very nice. He wasn't at all. But I know that Austin is not a big fan of him. He had a run in with Nikki and his wife, and it was not very good. But don't want to speak ill of the dead. Since he just passed away last week. But I definitely respect what he's done, but I always told his agent that never again.
Right.
That was one-time learning experience.
There you go. And I didn't ask you about this when we talked about a little bit about your wife. Is she still working? Is she still a wrestler?
Absolutely. She has a persona now. It's almost like a I don't know what you call it, bipolar or whatever. She goes back and forth between Little Bit and a character named Mardi Gras. And she does the whole, she has the purple outfit and everything. And now she's turned over her natural route of being a heel that she stays with at the house. So she does that persona now in wrestling too. So
awesome. I thought that was her on the poster, but I knew that wasn't the name I was used to. Hey, man, before you get off here tonight, I seen you all over Facebook, Gene, and, I've had you on here just to talk about shit that you do, like WrestleCade and everything. I noticed you guys went to, you and your wife there went to Nashville the other night to see some Lucha Libre.
We did. Aero Lucha. They did a show there back in December. We weren't able to make it to that. Apparently it was a big TV taping. Then we got wind they were coming back this past Sunday. Apparently Rey Mysterio is like part owner in the show. And, we go around to all these shows and conventions meeting people. We've never met Rey Mysterio. So we decided, what the hell? We'll go check it out. And it was actually a good show.
Well, good deal. That's and you was now you guys went where you I seen the pictures. You had a picture with Rey Mysterio, I believe Phoenix, Conan, and Conan's been a big influence on this show and actually putting it over a couple times on their show. Was Conan approachable? Because I seen the picture, but you never know how did that all? Did you just go up to him? Did you have to pay? How did all that work?
Yeah, well, they had a VIP option that we went for that gave you front row seats, and it gave you meet and greet with the main event talent before the show. And so Conan wasn't advertised. Nobody knew he was going to be there. Apparently, he's like a producer for the show, is what another guy told me.
Yeah.
And so just when we went through the line there at the VIP table, he was sitting there at the end. He was nice. I mean, he wasn't real talkative or anything, but I mean, that's like the big takeaway. Everybody's commented on the picture is smart ass comments. Oh, he looks happy to be in the picture and all that shit. But he was nice. He shook her hand and spoke, and he was nice. And Mysterio was super cool, and Phoenix and everybody.
Right. Well, that's cool. I had seen Phoenix live before. And a huge fan of Phoenix, and always a huge fan of Rey Mysterio. So, that I thought the pictures were really cool, and as always, I see you and Rose just having a great time. Both me and you have experienced the first wife and wish we would have had the second wife first. So,
absolutely. And, of course, it being at the Nashville Fairgrounds and being, in
all right, I lost you there.
Buy one of those.
I lost you when I was. Tell me what you said again. Being in the Nashville Fairgrounds, what now?
Burt Prentice was there. He's not a part of that show, but for whatever reason, he was there, and he was selling his $10 mystery boxes, with shit in them. And we seen him over there, and I explained to Rosie who he was, and I was like, "Hey, we should buy one of those things." She's like, "Yeah, we should do one of those unboxing videos on Facebook Live." I'm like, "Holy shit, you're right!" So we bought it. And I went out and I put it in the trunk of the car and kept it out there until I got home from work the next day because, we didn't get home until 1 o'clock Sunday night and had to get up and go to work. So we did the unboxing video on Facebook, and, last time I checked, it was hovering around, 300 views and had all kinds of comments. And it was fun. So that was I added a little bonus to our trip.
What was in the $10 box?
Well, it was a Mickey James poster. It was half of a Miz poster. You could tell it was like a 2-page poster that had Miz, but half of it was gone, so the M was gone, so it just said the Is. So it was an Is picture, and then the big one, it was a Sting hoodie from circa 1999. Crow Sting hoodie 2XL, which ain't gonna fit me, but Rosie can pull it off.
Well, that is awesome. Burt Prentice,
because he made it a point. He dug around in 3 or 4 because he goes, "If you picture box," because what happened is a lady had come up to us and said, "Hey, you want to buy a mystery box?" And I said, "Maybe after we get to the line." And so I walked back over there, and the lady's like, "So you want to buy a mystery box?" And Burt was sitting back, behind the table over there. And I said, "Yeah, I'll buy one if Burt will sign it and take a picture with me." And he looked up, and he goes, "Are you serious?" I go, "Well, yeah, I'm serious." And he goes, "Oh, okay, cool." And then he stopped and looked at me, and he goes, "You look familiar. I know you." I said, "Nah, you don't." Because, see, I don't know if you remember, but, me and Scott Berry used to just fucking have it out back on the damn Trent Van Dries board back in the day. I would shit all over USA Wrestling and fuck with Scott Berry hard. And he hated my guts, and they would talk about me on his podcast and shit. And so I don't know if he remembers me from that or if he's seen me on these IWA Deep South DVDs doing commentary. I don't know. But he was looking at it real funny because I could tell he thought I was fucking with him. And I was like, "No, I'm serious, dude. You're like legendary now. You come to Nashville Wrestling, you got to meet Burt Prentice, right?" He's like, "Yeah, okay." He's like, "What's your name?" And I said, "Gene." And he kind of looked at me funny. I'm like, "I've been coming to wrestling for years, man. I'm sure you've seen me at shows and stuff." He's like, "Okay." So he signs the box, and then he comes around and takes a picture with me, and he goes, but before he handed me the box, he said, have you picked one out? And I'm like, "No." And he digs through 6 or 7 of them. And he's like, "Oh, that one." And he hands it to me. He's like, "You'll love this. It's worth more than $10. And so I thought, what in the hell could, that kind of weirded me out. I'm like, what the hell could that be?
Right.
I was expecting her to be like, promo pictures of Colorado Kid, fucking Wolfie D or whatever, from like Music City back in the day. I wasn't expecting a Sting hoodie, but, it was fun. And it made for a fun unboxing video that, like I said, 200 and something people stopped watching Raw to watch me and Rosie unbox this damn
That's
Burt
hilarious.
Prentice thing.
Bert hates me too because of Trent wrote that article in one of my yearbooks, pretty much saying Bert was gay and he was gay for Matt Boyce and all this stuff. So he's hated me ever since. He won't even be my friend on Facebook, which I think's hilarious. And then I seen him at a that's real funny. It's just, and then I seen him at a show one time, and that's when I had lost a lot of weight. I'm back as a fat ass now, but I had lost a lot of weight.
Welcome back.
I'm trying my best to get back down, but man,
get in the club.
When you sit at home, you work from home, you just get fat. So but he still knew who I was, and he actually shook my hand, and I was like, yeah, right, kind of thing. But the first time I ever met Bert, I went up to Bert and said, look, I was writing articles for Wrestle World magazine. I do Wrestle World magazine. This was like in the 90s at Jonesboro, Arkansas, and I was trying to get in, I'm doing a wrestling story for a wrestling magazine. And he goes, I know who you are. I was like, what? He said, yeah, you're Mr. Kayfabe, so you're not going to do no shit on me. I know who you are. And I was like, oh, okay. So I just paid for my ticket and sat down. So yeah, but he's a strange one, man. He really is.
Oh, he is. He really is. But I made it a point never to say my last names. I thought if he heard that, he might either remember me from your website or Trent's deal or whatever. Like I said, man, Scott Berry, I used to get him just fighting fucking mad on that board, and he would go on like Trent's podcast and everybody's podcast. That son of a bitch, Gene Jacobs. Dude's never met me, but he would read those articles I'd write, about how, because he was just a horrible host on that show, and then half the show would be about that. Oh God, I can't think of the fucking name of the guy, but he was doing like a lounge singer character and he used to wrestle in Tupelo, Big Daddy Douglas or some shit, but he had a different name at the time. Yeah. But anyway, it was all about that guy. Then of course pushing Matt Boyce or whoever Bert was keen on at the time, for lack of a better word, but. Yeah, so I don't know. That was interesting interacting with him and getting the mystery box. So
was the show good?
Did you think it was a good show?
Good deal. Mm-hmm. I like to hear that.
Yeah, I think they'll be back. I think it'll probably be a regular thing. It was pretty packed. Like they've curtained off the top half of the upper part of the building on the one side up above the concession stand, but the other side they've actually added in some extra bleachers and stuff, and all the floor seats were full, and the bleachers and the top part of the one side, I mean, it was all pretty full. So, and apparently they had a really big crowd when they were there the first time for the TV tape, and they had a few more names there, Hurricane and Johnny Mundo, John Morrison, whatever you want to call him, and people like that. So I think they'll be back, and we'll probably go back and see him again at some point. But Ray hit all his signature spots, 619, and. He's dropped a lot of weight, and I mean, not that he was ever fat, but he had bulked up a lot muscle wise, and he slimmed back down and looked to be moving a lot smoother and looked to be in a lot less pain than the last time I had seen him.
I agree. I seen him on the last New Japan show, and it was almost he was doing all his spots, and he just looked so smooth. I made the joke, that Liger and him don't look like they've aged at all. So. I know it's a horrible joke, but they got
well, not untrue though.
But they are. He looks like he's in better shape now than ever, and he's doing limited dates and making a ton of money. If I was him, I'd never go back to WWE. So, well, man, let me get off here. Thanks a lot, man. I'm gonna put this one the first one up on Thursday, and I'll yell at you and tag you and tweet and all that horse shit.
All right, sounds good. I'm back doing mine again, so. I'll get with you sometime and see if we can't schedule to come on mine and bullshit and promote yours.
Okay, we'll do that, and then I always put you over at the end of the show as locals to legends and everything.
Cool, I appreciate it.
All right, later, bro. Thanks a lot.
Shootin' the Shiznit is exclusively sponsored this month by SpunkLube.com. SpunkLube is an award-winning personal lubricant that's fun. SpunkLube is available in 4 varieties: hybrid, pure silicone, natural, and pink. The newest addition to the SpunkLube family is SpunkLube Pink. The pink formula is colorful and fun to use. It's a special hybrid formula that's non-sticky and non-staining. All of their products are shipped in discreet packaging from D Enterprises. Please go to spunklube.com and order a unique, fun-to-use personal lubricant.
Hey, what's coming up next? It's only about a 3-minute segment, but a really fun segment. First is Bob McGee, and the next would be Jeff Jarrett. Bob McGee and I had a hard time getting connected when I was doing a segment with him on the Danny Adams show, and you could tell that, Bob gets a little frustrated. Kind of funny there after the fact. And Jeff Jarrett, as I join and start the program with him or the show with him, he actually calls me by the wrong name. I edited that out, and so I thought I would go ahead and let you guys listen to that. And that background sound that's going on during the Jeff Jarrett interview, I have no idea. It sounds like he's on a cardio machine or something. So here we go to these 2 segments.
Patrick, can you hear me? Hello? Dude, I can hear you. Brian, really starting to piss me off a lot.
Bob. Hey, there
Can
we
you hear
go.
me,
Sorry about that. Yeah, I can hear you real good. The way
Isn't
that
technology
Skype
fun?
works. Do what now?
I said technology is all sorts of fun.
Well, it's the way the Skype phone works is I can't actually, I can't actually have someone call in. I can't have someone if you're blocking caller, phone calls without caller ID, there's no way I can.
Yeah, my brother's probably got it set up to block it, and to be honest, I don't. Even with do not call, I get enough prank calls on the cell these days, so I'm kind of not inclined to change it as a rule.
Right. Well,
So,
and then
so let me know when we're. So tell me when we're live.
Okay, I will. Then I've got this. This is the old school way of doing it. This is Block Talk Radio. So we're going to talk. I'm going to try to get. Looks like about 18.
All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, I want to bring my guest this week on. You know what? It's my old buddy, Jeff Jarrett. Jeff, gosh, it's been years since we actually talked.
Actually, Scott, first off, it's Jeff Jarrett. I appreciate you having me on. But I want to know, how long has it been? But almost as importantly as that question, when was the first time we spoke to one another? That made me.
Yeah, I mean,
now, so I've already turned the tables on you. Now I'm interviewing you, Brian. So roll with it.
Well, the first time we met had to be Jonesboro, Arkansas.
in the dressing room. I always came, either I would come to the back to talk to the king, or Dutch would bring me from, he would stay at my apartment for a little bit, and then we would go to the matches. I'd come through the dressing room, and you'd say hi and everything. Matter of fact, it goes back further than that. We met when a group of guys from Philadelphia came, and I was on the bus with them, and we run.
Hey, I hope you've enjoyed the show so far. Coming up is our last segment. First, you'll have me and Kenny Boland talking, and then what I'm calling the rant, which was the last 10 minutes of the show here. What we had going on in December of 2017, as I was going to finish up the show, the year with 'Twas the Night Before Christmas with Stuttering Tommy Rich. It didn't go as planned, as I was getting ready to record. Instead of us actually recording that, TR, who's one of our most popular guests on the show, went into this very long 30-minute rant about cool kids, and some of you guys are wanting to know why TR has not appeared on the show anymore. This is kind of the reason why he blocked me after this. I'm not sure. Some of the craziest things have happened to me since starting with this podcast, and that last 10 minutes in that segment is one of them. I mean, it's just, you know how, I mean, I feel bad about it. I really do.
Well, I do too, to be honest with you. I'd patch things up with Jimmy today if we could, and I tried a few weeks ago, and he didn't call me back, so fuck him. You know, I did what I could. You know, I'm not gonna sit around and suffer over it. So what do you do?
You know, that's with me. It's just, I can't even. With me, I've done what I could do. I offered the friendship. I offered it, and you can't go any further, you know?
Yep, that's kind of how I look at it. I've done all I can do. Rest is up to him, and I ain't going to make it easy on him if he does call. You know, I've tried twice to make this shit work, and twice he's been acting like a fucking 5-year-old, and which we covered on one of your shows. So, you know, what do you do? Well, I guess I'm going to make some dinner. I think I'm going to have some tilapia tonight. So,
yeah, but we're having salmon. Yeah. I have my wife in there cooking right now. So,
oh well, I got to cook my own. So, tell your wife to throw an extra slab of fish on the Barbie for me.
There you go. Thanks, Kenny. I do appreciate it.
Well, maybe I'm wrong here, but I think Ricochet, if he doesn't go to 205 Live, if they present him as special,
right,
that he will be fine. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's the difference between me and a lot of people I don't get along with. I'll say maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but nobody else will say that. They'll stick with that they're right. Well, if, Evan Bourne didn't go to TNA, he would be in main event of Fukuoka tonight. And Fukuoka you.
No, he will be back in Japan because he fucking was stupid by having marijuana with him. That's just, someone snitched his ass out too. I wish they'd come up with that, because someone did snitch him out.
But the deal is, if you're the best in the world, you're the best in the world wherever you go. Creative can't hold you down. Daniel Bryan didn't get held down. He was the best in the world. That's what he claimed at ROH. That was a internet super guy.
Right.
And then he went there, and the promotion couldn't hold him down because he actually was that good. Boom. WrestleMania main event. Boom. WrestleMania highlight. He was that good. Anyway, what are we doing here?
All right. Did you bring it up?
I got to bring up my Hotmail. Randy Smith is great, by the way. What a fucking retard.
Yeah, he don't like you, by the way.
I guess not. Why did he leave Cool Kids and say fuck off to the rest of us? And nobody's over. Well, first of all, retard, with your fucking big ass glasses and your fucking heart attack at 45. People like Cornette and Bruce Pritchard are more over than people like Drew Gulak, because they drew 900,000 people to listen to them, as opposed to like nobody watching them. So secondly, I didn't leave Cool Kids because of a podcast. I left Cool Kids because, as I told you many times, I don't see wrestling the way that the majority of the group is starting to see wrestling. I said I want the first shirt to say Cool Kids and not Puro Bros. There was like 7 or 8 of you guys that like Japanese wrestling again. And Lance didn't even like Japanese wrestling until, I don't know. He's not trapped in the 80s, but Tom Petty and fucking Fleetwood Mac are his favorite bands. But anyway, those two are fucking, you can tape this if you want. Are you?
Yeah, I mean, it's taped, yeah, but I won't use it, so.
No, those two are like, for him to come on and say, yeah, well, Randy's like, I don't know, because he's attacking Jeff Siegel, and I don't agree with Jeff Siegel's political views. But I saw his, like in the middle of the rants, like if you posted something or whatever, that's your page, Brian Travel, your page, Lance Levine, your page, Randy Smith, your page, Jeff Siegel, your page, Tom Robinson, is your page. That's for your opinion. You don't invite jagoffs to come in and fucking try to attack you. And we met in Reading, Pennsylvania. Guess what? I didn't give a fuck about Trump, Obama, Hillary Clinton. I gave a fuck about Randy Smith and Jeff Siegel, my two buddies from different parts of the country that loved wrestling and that I met in the 80s. Guess what we had? A great time. Isn't that a fucking fucked up concept? Let's have a great time talking about what we mutually enjoy. And you bring up, why did he leave Cool Kids and say, fuck you? I left Cool Kids because I don't like matches that much. Really, I don't. I mean, if I'm there, like when we were in 87, for Jarrett and Travis against Tanaka and Diamond, we are the reporters to get that word out about young talent. But, I mean, why did I leave Cool Kids and say fuck you? I don't remember saying fuck you. Can you concur?
No, but it was pretty much a fuck you to, it was pretty much fuck you to Lance and everybody's in the group. You got to admit that. We talked about that afterwards, and that was... No,
it wasn't everybody in the group. It was pretty much a FU publicly, because I explained it and you could probably pull it back up, like if we really want to document it, and I'll comment on it. But Lance, as he stated, said, I'm not into that, and I think that said individual, meaning me, guy to know him for 20, 30 years or whatever, but nobody ever really knows each other in wrestling, but, just from the wrestling relationship, I like Lance, and I think Lance is cool, but, he's almost Donald Trump, where he's got to double down, where he goes, I've never lasted 15 minutes on that other show, meaning 605. But yet he knew Jimmy Valiant and Tommy Rich, who were number 1 and number 2 forever. And an hour into the show, so he didn't last 15 minutes because it was so boring. But Tommy Rich and Jimmy Valiant, and I'll give credit to Scott Cornish for being clever and being a professional comedy writer. But what Lance is into is what he was into when he was like 15, making fun of other people and hurting somebody's feelings. And that's not what my comedy's about. I mean, I'm into like goofing on people privately, but not publicly. Like, I hate Tom Burke. That was me, him, McAdam, Jeff Singer, etc. When we were kids. We're not kids anymore. We're in our 40s and 50s. Tom Burke is a historian. Granted, he's not like out there like us, but I don't find any joy or comedic value of busting on Tom Burke because he was friends with Lou Thez. I mean, this guy, his comedic value, and I hate to bring the suplex guys into it because they're kind of cool. And I've chuckled when I've listened to those guys. But to say, oh, I get so behind and I blah, 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 and I better, are you a retard? Like, you're 50-some years old with, like, almost grandkids, and you want to bury people and hurt people's feelings. Like, think about that. In this day and age, in 2017, you're still that guy in high school in the locker of the guy who has a disability and are just going, oh, he's fucking so fucking stupid and let's make the funniest joke. Like, no, dude. Like, let's try to create some comedy. But Stuttering TR was horrible. It was horrible with that fucking Chicago accent. Like, he had a chance for an olive branch there, but he still doubled down like Trump. He's, if he's right, where's the ratings? Where's the listeners? Where's the comments on your Twitter? Where's your followers? If you're right, Lance Levine, when I was ready to just come back and say, hey, you're a good dude and you're funny and you're witty, which he is, but his mindset, what is funny is to take down other people. And if anybody supports that, I don't want them around me. I don't want them in my life. I mean, that was cool when we're 18, but not when we're 48, 52, 50, 55, 49, respectively. It's fucking stupid. End of rant.
All right, let's get. You still want to do this?
I don't know. I'd rather do what I just said.
All right. Hey, you have a good night, man. I'm gonna get off here.
Hey, remember to join us, same bad time, same bad channel, on the best of the wrestling podcast in the business. Be there. Love my mama. Hope y'all enjoyed that episode, and as always, we're looking for contestants on Who Wants to Be the Best Shiznitter Ever. We also have t-shirts at wehavemerch.com. That's wehavemerch.com. $12.99, starting at $12.99, sizes all the way up to 6XL. Shooting the Shiznit exclusively sponsored this month by spunklube.com. That's spunklube.com. Spunk Lube is an award-winning personal lubricant that's fun. Spunk Lube is available in 4 varieties: hybrid, pure silicone, natural, and pink. You can reach me at Comic Book Mark BT on Twitter, BT Shooting the Shiznit on Instagram. We're also on Facebook. You can talk to us, me and Lance and everyone at Cool Kids Wrestling and MMA Talk Facebook group. We also have a Shooting the Shiznit Facebook group. All the archives are at www.stspod.club. You can listen to this podcast on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM, Podcast Addict, Spreaker, and other fine podcast players. I want to give a big shout out to my podcast bros, Suplex City Limits, Creative Control, Who's Right Podcast, and P3 Radio. Also a big shout out to WrestlingNewsCenter.com, LocalsToLegends.com with Gene Jackson, who also has his podcast, and my old buddy Bob McGee at ProWrestlersBetweenTheSheets.com. If you like this episode and would like to donate to the show, then send $5 to PayPal at Brian_Trammell, Tramel, at yahoo.com. Join us next week.
You can't fight the friction.